I'm Kasey Swartz. I'm originally from Michigan, and I think it's safe to assume that every person in this room has been touched by cancer in one way or the other. It's usually not in your plans for your life, and you never really see it coming. I was 24 years old, and my husband was gone to tech school for the Air Force, and I was juggling being in school for nursing, being a mom to my 1-year-old, and my mind was filled with concerns of if my husband was going to take it home for Christmas, other wives in the base going to like me, and if I was going to continue to work or not. After we welcomed my husband home about a week before Christmas, I decided to get one last final checkup before the new year to make sure everything was going right. I went alone because it was just going to be a quick visit, and as all the moms here know, alone time is very few and far between. Let's see, after I pointed out a lump in my breast, I was sent to a specialist. I went and immediately was put underneath an ultrasound machine. She asked if I had family in town after they found the lump, and I just started to go numb from my lips all the way down. I knew something was wrong, and I called my mother-in-law, and she came immediately, and they said that they just needed to go over the results real quick and take a look at it, and I was like, you're just trying to find out what it is, right? Like, there's no way I can have cancer. And she just told me to be calm and they'd figure it all out. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. I was healthy, I breastfed, I was active, I ate my carrots, I had my children young, my child young. I have no family history. It just made no sense to me. So I just kind of comforted myself with that they just have to take their precautions. But I knew in my stomach something was going on, and I went home that day and I grabbed my daughter, and I just watched her play, because I went from thinking, how many kids am I going to have, to thinking, am I going to see this one grow up? I just kind of took in everything. I still have the rocks she collected that day, and I just tried to take her in. The next day was January 6th, and my husband and I went to get the biopsy results. They told me then it was cancer, and they knew that it was probably aggressive because of my age, but they didn't really know much more, and that I had to continue testing. So my husband left for Seymour Johnson, because he had to report, and I stayed back at my father-in-law's house and for further testing on my vital organs. That was probably the first time I had prayed since I was about 10 years old. I just got down on my knees and literally begged God for my life. I wasn't quite sure who he was yet. I wasn't really Christian, but I knew for some reason I needed to call on him. The week of testing was probably, as you all have experienced, or somehow, is probably the longest week of your life. After they determined that it wasn't in any vital organ, thank God, my surgeon in Michigan performed a double mastectomy and a lymph node dissection, and on January 16, 2012, I was diagnosed with stage 3, grade 3 invasive ductal carcinoma, with 13 lymph nodes removed and 6 being involved. I was cleared to join my husband in North Carolina on February 1st, and my mother-in-law and I made the trek to our new home and began chemotherapy. Moving to a new state, trying to get to know people, and starting treatment with doctors you've never heard of is nothing short of nerve-wracking. I went to my first appointment to set up my chemo schedule at Southeastern Medical Oncology, and I met Dr. Boyd. He informed me that with my grade and my stage, and the treatment that I was going to go through, out of 100 people, in 10 years, 39 were still cancer-free, and that my first 2 years would be my hardest years. That was not a statistic I really wanted to hear, but I was 24 with no family history, so I wasn't exactly a statistic then, so I wasn't going to start now. I mentally left that appointment after that little tidbit of information, and I just went somewhere else. And all I remember is coming back, and he was kind of like, do you have any questions about chemo before we start? And honest to God, the only thing I could think of was, does the chemo room have Wi-Fi? Because my dad just bought me a Kindle, and I want to bring it with me. So I asked that, and he kind of gave me a blank look and told me he'd never really been asked that before. So he found out for me, and they did indeed have Wi-Fi, so I decided that Southeastern Medical Oncology would be where I'd be treated. I was okay with losing my breasts, but losing my hair was very devastating for me. 13 days after my first chemo treatment, it was time to do the brave shave. I met an amazing woman in Smithfield, Darlene, and she works with women in treatment, and together her and I shaved my head. I had now no breasts, I was unable to bear children, and I was bald. I couldn't look in the mirror for a while, and I surely wouldn't let my husband see me without being fully clothed and a scarf on my head. As chemo went on, I started feeling more comfortable with being bald and started to play with my makeup. I named my wigs, and I had one for just about every mood I was in. My husband had a favorite. I felt ready to go. I was asked to do an awareness shoot where I revealed my bald head for the first time. The hospital that I had surgery in used it as a calendar, and it was a billboard back in Michigan, and there's a picture up in the Southeastern Medical Oncology office. I felt that my diagnosis was no mistake. That despite my hair loss, no eyelashes or eyebrows, breasts, or the ability to bear children, I was fighting for a reason. I was fighting because so many did before me, and unfortunately, many will after me. I fought for my daughter. I fought to show her that no matter what life throws you, you throw back all you got, and you will find that you are capable of so much more than you ever thought you were. I fought because I not only wanted to see my daughter off to kindergarten, but I'm going to walk her down the aisle too. Amen. I may not have many children like I once thought and wanted, but I now have the chance to be here for the one I had. I finished my 38th radiation treatment in August and started tamoxifen on my hormone therapy, which has been very good to me. Cancer took many things from me. It took my sense of invincibility away. It took my control away. And it took my superficial security and forced me to work with the bare minimum. Although being diagnosed is devastating, it gave me so much more. I have become so positive about life. And maybe it is out of fear, but all I can see is right now. I am thankful for being able to kiss my daughter goodnight each night. I notice my husband and the way he loves me. The more hair I lost, the more beautiful he told me I was. I even got a pair of new shoes out of it. I love deeper, I laugh harder, and everything feels very bright. I have met women who have just begun their fight with cancer, and I get to talk to them and cry with them and teach them. I am now certified with the American Cancer Society as a Look Good, Feel Better educator, and will be helping women through treatment at Southeastern Medical Oncology. I was blessed with the best team of doctors and nurses that anybody has ever seen. And I am now going through reconstruction with Dr. Eskra. They have laughed with me, they have cried with me, they have helped me through each struggle, no matter how big or small it has. And now they're not just my doctors and nurses, that they're my friends. I am a Christian, and I don't know if I ever would have came to this path without crossing cancer first. I don't think God wastes a bad experience, and the one thing my pastor told me was, if God gets you to it, he'll get you through it. At my one-year checkup this past January, I had a small scare where they found lesions on my liver and my lungs. I didn't understand this because I felt really good, and why would God bring me to him just to take me away from everything I had fought so hard to have? I came to two conclusions that day. It is easy to trust in good times, but it is so much more important to trust in times of struggle. My results came back benign, and that is when I came to my second conclusion. No one dies of cancer. Cancer will never win. Cancer will change you, and you will either be called to help people on earth, or you are called to motivate during struggle and are then called to a higher task. but cancer never wins. I'm happy to say that I am in remission, and I obviously hope to stay in remission, but if cancer chooses to cross my path again, I am armed and I'll be ready to fight. Whatever situation we are put in, we have to make the most of what we have and not let pain and struggle overcome us. It is easy for me to say that now, and it was very hard to actually do when I was scared at night, wondering if and when cancer would strike again, waking my husband up at 3 a.m. just to ask him if he thinks I'm going to be okay. Standing in front of the mirror with my bald head, seeing all I thought my life would be going out the window. Kneeling next to my bed, asking God to save me and to let me see my daughter for just a while longer. But I'm telling you this, every time you are feeling this way, stand up and look yourself in the eyes and tell yourself, I'm going to make it through, over and over again until you believe it. You may feel like you're not doing much, but your mind is so very powerful, and I promise you, you are going to come out of this that much stronger. Throughout my fight, I have been called inspirational and motivating. I never knew what to say to this because I felt like I was doing what any person would do in this situation and being put in circumstances beyond their control. You are afraid, and you fight for what you love. On that note, I have to tell you what has inspired and motivated me. I have met mothers who have buried their children because of cancer. I have met people who would have done anything to have a 39% chance of beating this, and their view on life gives me chills. I sat next to a young woman who has been fighting since she was 11 years old. I never saw her without a smile on her face. The mothers I have met who lost their children have started foundations for other children fighting and speak out on childhood cancers. People who have beat stage 4 colon cancer, and most importantly, men and women who fought like I did and were called to God. That is where my inspiration and motivation come from. So today I encourage you to live in the moment. When given the opportunity, just do it. I went on a whim and I bought a motorcycle, and it's probably the most fun I've ever had. My doctors think I'm crazy, but it's a Kawasaki Ninja ZX600. Always love unconditionally, and just enjoy the moment you're in. Strive to keep your sense of humor. My daughter to this day still thinks that everybody has removable hair. It was really funny because we were getting ready to leave our house one day, and as most of you know, wigs are very uncomfortable. So I wouldn't wear them in the house, and I was running around, and I go, Cambria, do you know where I put my hair? And I had to stop, because I was like, did that just come out of my mouth? Just live and let God. And do your thing, and you all are an inspiration to me, and it's such an honor to be here speaking to you. So thank you very much.